Folks, I'm going to tell you what I think is at stake here in 2018 and the elections coming up. The first thing is the issues. The issues always matter, right? Every year. This year is no different. The issue that's most important to most of the people I talk to in the 6th District is healthcare. And it's still, it was the issue we launched the campaign on, and it's the issue that still matters today. Folks, we have to elect leaders that don't want to undermine our system for purely political reasons. We need to elect people that want to fix the system, to protect people with pre-existing conditions, to make things better for all of us, and to work in good faith to make things better and do things that are practical. That is very, very important. So healthcare is still number one. Good quality jobs and an economy that works for everyone and not just the 1% is very, very important as well. And that's also something I've spent a lot of time on. I know you've talked a lot tonight about education. Education at the federal level. We've got to maintain our investments. Those are all important issues. Coleman talked about it, and I know it's been touched on a lot, particularly in the last weekend, is respect. Basic dignity and respect for all Americans. That is so important to have. That's also an issue that we need to have leaders to stand up for, okay? Issues are always important. But this year, in 2018, I would argue, this election is more than just about the issues, okay? This election, if it were just the issues, I would probably not be standing up in front of you if it were just about the issues. This election is about the soul of our country. It is about who we are as Kentuckians and as Americans. It is about who we want to be, what kind of country we want to live in, what kind of country we want our kids to live in and become adults in and be proud of. That's what this is about. What kind of leaders do we want in our country? What kind of leaders do we accept in our country? Do we accept ones that continuously divide? Do we accept leaders that continuously lie? Every day. Every day. And that's what this is about. That's why it's so important, all right? I've been thinking a lot about our political discourse here in our country and in Kentucky for a long time. It's one of the reasons I'm running. But it's particularly come up over this past weekend with everything that's happened in our country. Folks, we have to get leaders in this country that know how to lead, okay? And political discourse has deteriorated so much in our country that I fear that we have an entire generation right now of young Americans who have never really seen a functional federal government, a functioning Congress. They've never really seen the way politics should be without the labeling, without the divisiveness, without the negativity and the lies. And that is also one of the major reasons I'm running. I was tired of it. We saw it in 2016. We've seen it almost every day since. We're seeing it a lot, unfortunately, in this race. But I decided I was going to be different. And you know, this race has one of the most lopsided ratios of negative to positive ads in the country right now. And people told me when I got into this, they said, you know, all of those things that you cared about as a Marine, that you taught to other people, things like honor and integrity and courage, things that we taught our leaders in the military to be and to have. People told me, you're not going to see it in politics. You know, it's a world where lies, people lie all the time. And I'm not standing for that. I'm tired of it. We've come to the point where So in all of what's going on right now and what you've seen in this race, I have chosen not to do the same things my opponent has done to me, which is fine, because I'm going to win. this. We need to be able to have political talk in our country to get through to solve any of the problems that we have. We've got to be able to be honest about them. So that's why I chose not to do this. Because I wanted my kids to be proud of this campaign. Because I know that America is better than what we're seeing in our political discourse today. We desperately need change. You know that we do. And how do you make change? For me, what I've always learned as a military officer is it starts with leadership. It starts with leaders. And leaders who have courage. The courage to be different. To buck the system. To do something different, do what's right, even when everybody says you can't do it that way. You can't win that way. That's what we need. We need leaders of courage. So folks come to me a lot and they say, you know, why is Congress so stupid? Why are they doing this and that? Well, don't they know this? I mean, it's obvious. Why don't they do this? It's so easy. And aren't these folks, you know, educated? And I'm like, yeah, Congress, I mean, they're filled with lots of people that have Ivy League degrees and all kinds of stuff. They're super intelligent, you know. That's not the problem that Congress has. The Congress doesn't have an intelligence problem. It really doesn't. These members of Congress, they know climate change is real. They know it's real. I mean, it's not an intelligence problem, folks. I'll tell you what problem they have. They have a courage problem. Congress has a courage problem. And so we have to have people elected to have the courage to stand up and try to fix the problems that we have. And try to work with everybody that wants to fix them in good faith. And not go down to where maybe their political party tells them they have to do all the time. We have to get people that have the courage to stand up to special interests, the courage to stand up to their own political party, the courage to stand up to their donors. And I think it's about time we have a Congress that can stand up to this president. For your help, all right? And there's 4 days left, which who's counting? All right? There's 4 days left, and we've come very far. We're almost there. I can't do this alone. I am going to need each and every one of you. This is a very, very tight race. What's going to win this thing is not commercials. What's going to win this thing is you, on the ground, talking to people, knocking on doors, calling people. You know a lot of people don't vote in the midterms. You know this. We need everybody to get out and get people out to vote. That's really important. So I'm going to ask you tonight, I have volunteers, and thank you. Hold your hand. I have volunteers and staff. They're holding clipboards, all right? So I'm a Marine, so I'm gonna make you work, all right? I'm going to ask you to sign up for 4 shifts. We've got 4 days. Sign up for 4 shifts of knocking on doors. I know many of you already have, and I thank you for that. But I'm going to ask you to sign up if you haven't. This is what's going to make this happen on Tuesday. And as I look at 2016, the election of 2016, and what's happened in our country almost every day since, many of us, including myself, have taken time to take a step back and said, how are we going to respond to this? And we all do it differently, right? Some people write op-eds, some people march, some people get on Facebook and Twitter and have at it, you know. Believe me, I've done my time. Everybody has a different reaction to this. But I'll tell you what really matters in our country in terms of change. According to our Constitution, the Constitution that I love and that I defended for 20 years, is elections. Elections matter. And so what you do in the next 4 days and how you help, all of that energy, channel it right now to this. Do this. Do it for your country. In the next 4 days, whatever you do for this campaign, for all of these campaigns, guess what? You're serving your country by doing that. I would argue right now, your involvement So whatever you can do for this campaign, or any of these folks who are running, your involvement is saving our country right now. So I'm going to ask you to do that, okay? I thank you for all of your support. I need you to help this campaign. Your country needs you. Kentucky needs you. We've got 4 days. Let's get out to vote, all right? On Tuesday, that response to 2016, that response to what's been happening to our country since, will happen on Tuesday. And on Tuesday, we will show Kentucky what our response is. And I would argue we will show the country. This district will show the country what our response is. And we will show the world what our response is. We know in our hearts what we want our country to be. We know in our hearts what we want Kentucky to be. We just need to keep making it happen. And we're going to do it in 4 days. We're going to take the right step. We're going to do the right thing. And we're going to press on. Now, I'm going to end this the same way I started. All right? Some people say a Democrat can't win in Kentucky. Yeah, we'll see about that.